The contracting strategy is key part of managing projects, as it defines how scope is broken down in contract packages and how these are contracted out. Some parts of the scope may be contracted out through competitive tendering to obtain bids at a commercially acceptable price. It is important to have sufficient competent bidders available. Packages may be contracted out through existing agreements or by single source negotiation. From a project management perspective, packaging scope elements can be attractive to minimize the number of interfaces. However, the contractor responsible for a certain package may still subcontract a large part to subcontractors, which makes the reduction of interfaces an illusion. Another key consideration is package sequencing, which depends on how various packages have been contracted. Therefore, it is essential to carry out assessment of the requirements of all relevant stakeholders in a timely way so that it aligns with project objectives. When generating options, it is useful to start with two archetypes. For the development of a contracting strategy, the various project activities are listed horizontally. This slide shows the contracting kilt of an archetypical contracting strategy called Contract A, with a breakdown into 5 asset elements: general facilities, utilities, process plant 1, process plant 2, and storage tanks. Each block represents a contract. In reality, the breakdown will be much more detailed. Under Contracting Strategy A, the owner awards a contract for front-end engineering and design, in short FEED, and subsequently a contract for engineering, procurement and construction, in short EPC. The contractor has an obligation to deliver the assets specified in the FEED package, and in many cases the EPC contract will be based on a lump sum or fixed price. Commissioning and starting up activities are usually carried out by the owner, with assistance from the EPC contractor. Under Contracting Strategy B, the owner awards one contract for FEED and services for engineering, procurement, construction management, EPCM. As the FEED or EPCM contract is awarded at the time when the level of scope definition is limited, we use a reimbursable form of remuneration. The contractor then, for and behalf of the owner, executes the procurement of other materials and equipment and construction activities. Effectively, the contractor carries out the same activities as under Strategy A, but now at the owner's risk, with subcontracts in the name of the owner. Strategy B potentially offers significant continuity and schedule benefits with FEED rolling into detailed engineering, but requires a relatively large and competent owner's team, particularly regarding progress and cost control and contract management. A disadvantage for the owner is that they must select a main contractor very early in the project lifecycle. However, with EPCM services totaling only 10 to 20% of the cost, the commercial exposure is generally limited. As a summary of the two archetype contracts, A and B, we saw them here next one to the other. What is obvious from this example is that Type B has many more interfaces to be managed. Type A might have a similar number of interfaces, but these are hidden because a single point of responsible contractor was selected for the whole of the EPC phase. The form of remuneration is an integral part of any contracting strategy, defining the pricing and allocation of risk. Under a contract, the contractor will have an obligation to achieve a certain result in a lump sum fixed price or use their best endeavors in providing services in a cost reimbursable form of remuneration. For construction work, so-called unit rate contracts are often used. The main difference between these contracts lies in the allocation of risk and the time at which risk is priced. With a lump sum fixed price contract, the contractor is required to provide a price guarantee, although in most cases contractors are ill-placed to bear the consequences of that risk materializing. With a reimbursable contract, the owner initially carries the overall project risk, and during project implementation, this is gradually transferred to suppliers and construction contractors. Many different variations exist within these two groups. Here, only the ones mostly used, FEED, EPC, and EPCM, and construction are discussed. In the background material of this course, you can find a detailed SWOT, which is strengths, weaknesses, the internal setup, and opportunities, threats, the external environment, analysis of these two most prominent contract forms, the lump sum or EPC contract and the cost plus fixed price or EPCM contract. The main difference between these two contract forms is the risk profile. The contract type has, contrary to popular belief, hardly any influence on the performance of the project. Instead, the relational behaviors make the difference. As a final step, all the activities leading to a contract have been summarized here. The contractual life cycle is going through 5 distinct phases as well: strategy, pre-qualification, invitation to bid, evaluation and award, and contract management. Underneath this, all several supporting processes can be recognized: market intelligence, risk management, finance, procurement, to name a few. After establishing the strategy and tactics, you still have to make it happen. The potential contractors are first pre-qualified, then the invitation to bid will be sent out. At that moment, the ball is in the court of the contractors. Once their bids have been received on the preset date, the bid will be evaluated and the winning bidder will be awarded the contract. The big task then finally starts: managing the contract and the contractor. Signing the contract is only the first step on the road to a successful project. Quite often, it is with the signing that the real negotiations start. Signing is the formal milestone from which the integrated approach can start, focusing towards building a truly integrated and collaborative team, crucial for project success. Every time a new contract is signed, a new relation is created. A transactional approach to contracting, focusing on maximizing own interest, may not always be appropriate. Relational contracts are typically long-term agreements involving substantial mutual commitment and extensive cooperation and communication among signing parties. Relationships are key to improving the delivery of services and hence social outcomes. By focusing on building and maintaining trust between the parties, a relational approach might sometimes be more effective in improving the outcomes of a contract. In practice, relational contracts could include, among others, joint ventures, complex outsourcing, franchising, and distribution agreements. This part has focused on the importance of understanding the relationship between scope, contractual strategy, and risk allocation. I have also stressed the importance of relations and how relational approaches in contracting can create integrated teams delivering successful projects. Experience shows that this is not a good to have, but a must have.